Well. Clemson Tiger fans, college football fans, welcome back to another episode of the All In Show right here on Clemson at the Voice of College Football. Thank you so much for joining me. Got a great show for you guys tonight. Going to talk and put a little bow on that Duke game that we just watched this past Saturday. Talk a little bit about Dabo being fine, the referee situation in college football, all of that. We're not going to sit here and moan and complain about a call, so don't worry about that. But we will get into a little bit of it tonight. And then obviously we'll break down the Clemson versus FSU game coming up this Saturday. And then we'll turn it over to you guys, the comment section, as we do each and every show. At the end, we turn it over to you guys, the comment section. So stick around for that. That's always a great part of the show. But before we get into tonight's show, if you're not subscribed already, help us out. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Me and Jordan do the All-In Show on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., right here on Clemson at the Voice of College Football. We also do a post-game live video after each and every Clemson game. And we also do some channel watch-alongs. So if you want to do some college football watch-alongs with us, be sure to become a channel member. Click that join button right under this video. Select a tier. And become a monthly supporter of Clemson at the Voice of College Football and help us out in that way. It'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that like button. Really helps us out on the live videos, especially as we try to grow this channel. And then last but certainly not least, as we get to the end of the show and get to your comments and questions, we will not get to all of them, unfortunately. So if you want to be sure that your comment and or question is read and responded to during this live show, be sure to hit that super chat feature and support the show in that way. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, Jordan Bowman. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. Just taking it all in. You know, we're already in the month of November, and Clemson is 3-5. We're going to be here to give some perspective. We're going to talk about everything that happened over the course of the short course of the aftermath of the Duke game. And of course, we're going to talk some Florida State, but despite Clemson's season, basically being in the toilet, the optimism and the belief in the program is probably at not an all-time low, but it's pretty low. I still enjoy hopping on here and doing these shows, and this is the only thing getting me through it. So happy to be here, brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing great as always. Life throws you curveballs and from time to time, and that's what us Clemson fans have gotten so far this season. It's nothing like we thought it was going to be, Jordan. I think we come on here every week and kind of talk about this, but it really is kind of mind-boggling and staggering, if you will, to think about this Clemson team being 3-5. 8 games into the season as we just crossed the calendar and we're now into November, which traditionally in Clemson, if you've been a fan for a long time, is the championship phase of Clemson season. Well, not in 2025. There are no champions. There are no championships to be had in 2025. I guess the only championship you could still win this year is the state championship. So I guess that's still on the table. But, yeah, man, it's really been probably, at this point, the worst season under Dabo Swinney, possibly. We'll see how the season finishes, but it's been bad. It's been disappointing. And to think about the height at what you thought about and what a lot of the country thought about Clemson heading into this season and where we are now 8 games into the 2025 season, sitting at 3-5. Tough pill to swallow for a lot of Clemson fans. A lot of pissed off fans out there. A lot of people are angry. A lot of people want blood. A lot of people want people fired. A lot of people want to see different players. And I think some of that stuff will happen once we get to the end of the season, but none of it's going to happen before the end of the season. So here we are to try to provide a little bit of perspective to Clemson fans and and just enjoy what the rest of the 2025 season we have. Although this season sucks, Jordan, I try to keep reminding myself of how crappy the offseason is when we can't watch college football. So I'm still trying to enjoy this college football season, even though Clemson's not really helping me out with that.
No.
I'm still trying to enjoy college football as a whole. There's not much enjoyable about watching Clemson football, but there's a lot of good football out there. You just gotta. They just don't have a tiger paw in their helmet.
Unfortunately, and it's been a brutal football season in general. As those of you longtime listeners know, I'm also a Titans fan. We are the second worst team in the league. So that's going great. Just lost to the Chargers, a game that would honestly it's a miracle it was even that close. But I'm also a Bulls fan. So my working theory is that I sacrificed Clemson and the Titans just for the Bulls to be 5-1. And they started 5-0. That's the first time in my lifetime they started 5-0. So that's cool. It's getting me back into the NBA at least a little bit again. Shout out to Clemson basketball, both men and women's getting off to a really nice start, 2 blowout wins. The women's basketball team, took out USC Upstate in pretty dominating fashion, and Clemson did the same thing oh God, who did they play? I already forgot. But it was good to see both squads go out there and get a win. Sean Poppy and Brad Brownell. This men's team, man, they look like they have a really, really good balance of transfer guys and experience and young guys. I mean, Ace Buckner had led the team with 18 points. I mean, I'm sure. I mean that last name carries a lot of weight around here. So just really, really cool to see them get off to a hot start with a lot of new faces. I'm excited about this team, man. I think they've got a really, really good mix of players and they all can contribute. It was a very balanced effort. So, it's crazy to say in Clemson, but basketball season is here, folks. We might have a little bit better fortunes than on the gridiron. Crazy to say.
Yeah. Who would have thought you would have ever said that about Clemson University? But here we are.
Yeah.
So crazy things are unfolding in 2025. But we're here to gut through the rest of this 2025 season and see where we end up. Will Clemson make a bowl game? I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Oh man. You got to win 3 or 4, man. That's pretty sobering to think about. In order to make a bowl game.
3 or 4, and they're not easy games when you think about this Clemson team.
No, not even Furman.
Hey, I said it. I think on the post game. That might be our only win left on the schedule.
Might be. But yeah, man.
I'm laughing, but I'm really not joking.
I'm really not joking. Would not like they could run out there and look
legitimately lose to Florida State, Louisville, and South Carolina.
Yeah, dude, it's bad, man. But we're gonna stomach through it. This is this is not this type of season. Clemson fans that aren't used to. I mean, shoot, even in not even just considering the Dabo Sweeney era. I mean, this for a Tommy Bowden team, this would be a pretty miserable year. So it puts things into perspective, like how this honestly, when you compared to the expectations this team had, this is easily the worst team of my lifetime. I mean, 2010 was rough, but that team didn't have nearly the amount of at least talent on paper as this one should have. And they were a lot more competitive, frankly. I mean, they had some bad losses in 2010 in terms of like the quality of teams they lost to, but they also played close with a lot of really good teams. So, and won a couple of them. So it just, It's one of those things. I mean, this is easily the most disappointed I've been in a Clemson football team in my lifetime. And it's a pretty sobering feeling, man. It's as somebody that's that's had an eye on the program for a long time. It tells you everything.
Yeah, it really does. It's easily Dabo Swinney's worst team. And again, we'll see how they finish. KD says, "What if Clemson goes 3-1 and loses to Furman?" Look, that would be the most 2025 thing for Clemson football ever.
I mean, because when you think about it, this Clemson team has had a lot of firsts. They've broken a lot of streaks. A lot of them are in a bad way.
Yeah, in a negative way. Yes.
Yeah, losing to Furman would be another feather in the cap because if you guys didn't know, Clemson since the FBS FCS split have never lost to an FCS team. So that would be that'd be dope. Yeah, might as well knock that one out too. Lose to Furman, so South Carolina fans can finally get some get back for all the years of us making fun of the Citadel. So
Clemson's that like drunk cousin in 2025.
Yeah,
the 2025 Clemson football team is like the drunk cousin that's like, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. That honestly, I should have. I titled the show today "Chopped." I really should change it to "Hold my beer" because that's really what this season has been.
That's what it's been, dude. That's what it's been. You barely squeak out a win to Troy. You just what could go wrong has gone wrong this season, and unfortunately, we've probably not seen our last loss or extremely disappointing moment, head-scratching moments. We'll see if they can keep it together down the back stretch of the season. I'm not so sure you can keep all these guys bought in.
I don't know, man. Is North Carolina our best win now? Dude. There's a legitimate case at this point. I thought it was Boston College, but BC was pretty competitive against Notre Dame, but UNC has looked significantly better the last few weeks. So
we're down bad, man.
We're down bad.
Down bad. John Sarian said earlier. He said this is some people are calling this a bowl game. What did he say?
The Who Gets Fired Bowl.
Yeah, the Who Gets Fired Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, in Florida State's case, I really think the writing's on the wall. I don't see any way they hold on to Mike Norvell, and regardless of the result on Saturday. But
yeah,
that could be just me.
I don't think so. I don't really think there's anything Mark Norvell can do to hold on to his job at Florida State at this point. But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is my personal belief. I could be proven wrong. I don't think there's anything that could happen this season that would cause Dabo Swinney to lose his job.
Yeah.
That's my personal belief. I'm sure there's people out there that disagree. Like, I think Clemson could, lose 2 or 3 of these last 4 games. And I don't think that affects Dabo Swinney's job at all.
I think it affects his job, but maybe
no, it affects his job. I'm just talking about like being fired before next season. It does not, like, that will not happen. Yeah, I don't think there's a scenario where that happens.
No.
I'd be surprised if it did, but again, there's probably people out there that would disagree with that statement. So
yeah,
we'll see. We might find that out.
Shit. we might
find that out. I hope we don't find that out. I am not enjoying all of these losses, specifically in the Valley, which ironically, here, listen to this, Jordan, before we dive into the show. And I know this is a really long, conversation before we dive into our topics tonight, but hear me out. Here's my logic, right? A lot of people in the Clemson fan base have vowed to stop calling our stadium Death Valley for good reason, right? Because we can't seem to win a game, specifically against a Power 4 opponent there in 2025. I think it's still Death Valley just for Clemson instead of the opposing team. That's where the 2025 Clemson team has gone to die. They are dying in their very own Death Valley. It is no longer a Death Valley for the opponents. It is a Death Valley for the home team. Because, good God, we can't buy a win at home.
No, man, it's bad. I just checked my phone and the Bulls are down 18 points. So that's cool. I just spent that time glazing them, and then they're doing that. This is a great show. But no, man. I mean, honestly, I'm behind it. I mean, listen, if you lose Saturday, I don't want to alarm anybody because this Clemson team just loves breaking records. If they lose on Saturday, they will officially have lost the most games in Death Valley that Clemson has ever lost, ever in a season. Not in the Dabo Swinney tenure, not this century, ever in school history. You will have lost 5 home games.
That's about as bad as it gets right there. I mean, you don't even really need to say anything. That's about as bad as it gets.
I mean, it really it's sobering, man.
So for all the good records Dabo has in the good column at Clemson, that will be one that will probably stay with him forever. Losing 5 home games.
Yeah.
That'd be insane. That would be absolutely insane. And it's a very losable game this weekend.
Very.
As we will get into this show. But, Jordan, let's go ahead and leave that here. Let's go ahead and dive into the show so we can get to our comment section at the end and chop it up with the folk, because I'm sure they got more than their fair share of thoughts to share tonight and for us to respond and react to. So quick shout out to the chat section real quick before we get started. A couple of our channel members, like Mike, is in here. Thank you so much for, one, being in here and commenting. Thank you so much for that. And being a monthly supporter of Clemson at the Voice of College Football. And more importantly, this show, what me and Jordan do here every week. Thank you for your support. You guys see that symbol beside his name. That means he's a monthly supporter. John Sarian, one of our great OGs of the channel, moderator, and also a monthly supporter. So thank you so much for being in here and supporting in that way as well. Let's see. Any of our other guys in here? I don't see anybody else. Katie Jones is in here tonight. Thank you so much for being in here. Joe Long, appreciate you for getting in here tonight. Myself, I commented in there. Shout out to me. Embrain BB is in here. So thank everybody for getting into the chat section so far tonight. Keep commenting. Keep getting your thoughts in there. And as I said, once we get to the end of the show, we will turn it over to you guys, the live chat section, and chop it up with you guys for as long as we possibly can. Jordan, this past Saturday, things did not go favorably for the Tigers, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, and more specifically than the defensive side of the ball, the defensive secondary got absolutely annihilated, destroyed, burnt, taken advantage of, whatever adjectives you want to use to describe that performance on Saturday. It was an unimaginable collapse by the secondary of Clemson last week. And that's not to take anything away from Duke's offense or Darian Mensah or how good of a quarterback he is or how good of a season he is having, because he is having a very good season. And we talked about going into this game of how great they were at throwing the football, and they were going to attack Clemson. And we were worried about it. I don't know that we quite saw the defensive collapse that we, eventually saw on Saturday. I don't know that we saw that coming, but we did have our concerns going into the game. But it was much, much worse than we thought it was going to be. Now that we've had, a few days to kind of digest that loss and go back and look at pieces of it and kind of try to figure out and wrap our heads around what all went wrong. Just give us your thoughts now that you've had a couple days on just kind of that loss and really the defensive collapse that we witnessed this past Saturday, because that's something that I don't know we've seen quite that bad, at least for a long, long time from a Clemson defense.
Yeah. That's about as bad as it gets, man. I mean, it looked bad when in real time watching it. On the rewatch, it was just as bad. I mean, listen, I mean, there's really no excuse for the level of the lack of attention to detail, the lack of any sort of like consistency. Listen, Duke made some contested catches. I mean, Cooper Barkate was tough for this team to cover. I mean, he's a good receiver. I mean, so but like the one, he made some tough catches on third down or fourth down. Okay, you can live with those, but the coverage busts were just mind-numbing. Like just things that should never happen within the course of a game. Not to that degree. It was awful, and I'm not like, I don't think like Pro Football Focus is like the bastion of media or sports statistics and player grades, but I just want to read some of these to you because they reflect what you see on tape. So overall, defensively, your best overall graded player was Peter Woods on the day with a 72.4 grade. Kobe McLeod was actually not far behind him with 71.3. So Kobe McLeod, continues to play decent, play pretty well. He's had some he's strung together a couple of few nice games in the time he's played, but I don't really want to spend too much time on that. I don't want to look at the overall grades. I want to look at the coverage grades. Ronan Hannafin had a 35.9 coverage grade. And that's not even the worst, by the way. I just wanted to point him out specifically because he had obviously the biggest noticeable busts on tape. I mean, obviously when you're a safety, if you get if you have a coverage bust, it's you're probably
pretty noticeable. Yeah. Yeah, they're probably getting 6 if you bust coverage.
Yeah, that was miserable. Sammy Brown, 29.7 was your worst on the day, and he had a 50 grade on the game. Yeah, so clearly not one of his better games, and the tape tends to agree there. I mean, I think he played fine, and I mean he's always really active in run support, and obviously Duke did not run the football very well, very effectively. So kudos to them, but communication in the second level was just horrendous. Tink Kelly, 53.7 coverage grade. Obviously, he gave up he gave up the first touchdown of the game. Just wasn't even really that competitive on the route, and he lost. He was like 2 steps behind the defender. Like there was no chance. I mean, you're really in a situation. I have to keep reading, man. Ashton Hampton, 56.2. Wade Woodaz, 56.5. Brandon Strozier, 59.9. Like, just inexcusable for a defense to be that horrendous. And listen, I've given my defenses of the coaching in the secondary at times over the years, but it's not good enough, man. I'm over it, especially at safety. It's just not even close to good enough. I mean, not only do you clearly not have the talent that you thought you did at safety, but they're not even playing like they're getting competent coaching. Ricardo Jones has been a pretty disappointing player this year. Ronan Hannafin, obviously, like he's flashed early, but as he's played more, he's gotten exposed more. Khalil Barnes, we have talked ad nauseum about how much he's regressed over the years he's been here. It's
such a disappointment.
It's flat out just inexcusable. It's flat out not good enough. And Dabo ripped into those guys on Saturday, and you saw it. But at the end of the day, like they're not getting. I refuse to believe that they are just that bad. I mean, we've seen all of them play better at different points in their career. They look awful, man. Like awful. Like this is like high school level play, which you consider who their position coach is and his background. So yeah. Like I definitely expect, I usually don't talk about like coaching changes and all that, but I certainly expect changes to be made there. Probably, might not be during the season, probably won't be during the season, but I certainly expect changes to be made there. It's just not good enough, man. That's inexcusable. The level of play that we saw, and it's happened too often over the years. It's not just, this was not an isolated incident. Obviously, the secondary played awful against SMU. They've looked pretty miserable in other games this year, and you can in last year, the year before that, just too many. I mean, you just have not had a season where you've put together a really, really good secondary since 2021. Yeah, that secondary was pretty good. Andrew Booth and Mario Goodrich and those guys, they were pretty good on the back end. I mean, 2023 they were fine. I mean, and Nate Wiggins obviously had a really big season, and you had R.J. Mickens and Jalen Phillips, and that was a pretty competent group, collectively. But you have not had the level of talent on the back end that you did. It's clear, and I like Avion Terrell, but he's not his brother. That's apparent. Not all his fault, but he did not have his best game on Saturday. And Ashton Hampton has regressed. So, just the collective coaching, the collective level of play that we've seen this year, it's unacceptable especially for two position coaches that have been here as long as they have. And I love Mike Reed to death. He has done a lot. He's put a lot of players in this, into the league, but this has not been his best coaching job. And I wonder how much of that, I wonder how much of that is like, just him not being able to coach the guys up, or is there like a disconnect between him and Tom Allen and Mickey Kahn? I don't know, but all of it is not good. All of it is not good enough. Just point blank. Like you need drastic changes in that position.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jordan. There's obviously, I mean, just defensively as a whole, as we look at it and think about it, the collection of coaches that are currently there, the collection of players that is currently there, it's not working. And obviously we don't have the inside knowledge of the program that it would take in order to know exactly what the catalyst is and what the issues are. But I think it's very clear that there are going to be coaching changes on the defensive side of the ball come season's end. If you watch Dabo Swinney's press conference this week, he did not allude to that. We know it's not going to happen in season because he did flat out say it's his philosophy that you don't fire coaches in season, right? Fine. There will be changes this offseason, but there's not only going to be coaching changes, there's going to be personnel changes. I think Dabo Swinney dropped a couple hints in his press conference of alluding to the fact that the transfer portal will be a part of Clemson's plan this offseason in a much bigger way than it has been any other season before. You kind of rattled off the grades there, and there's really nothing more to say other than it's unacceptable. You flat out got embarrassed on your own field. You couldn't stop anything. It was blown coverage after blown coverage, safeties getting caught with their eyes in the backfield, not paying attention to what they should be paying attention to, taking poor angles, getting run past. I mean, you have an offense that finally got it going, right? The defense gets a couple stops. You get a lead heading into halftime. You have an opportunity to get off the field and give your offense a chance to probably get 3 more points, just judging by how good of a field goal kicker we have, right? Instead, you let a guy run behind you for a 50-plus yard touchdown pass. And instead of going into half at a minimum up 7 points, you're going in tied. How do you let somebody run past you in that situation? Even if they catch something underneath and convert, so be it.
Their kicker sucks.
You can't let them run past you. That's the one thing you can't do in that situation. If they catch a pass underneath and get a first down, like I said, so be it. Let them try to kick a field goal. Their kicker's freaking terrible. Instead, I don't know what you're doing. How do you get beat on that? How do you let that guy run past you? It makes no sense. And that happened so many times in that game. That's just one instance of not knowing the situation that you are playing in, not knowing the down and distance and what's going on in the game to know that you can't let anybody past you, right? And it was just that all day. I mean, they converted 6 fourth down plays. They were 6 of 6 on fourth down. They converted third down plays, third and long. It was just a comedy of errors for the defense. They couldn't get out of their own way. The secondary, that's probably the worst game I've ever seen them play. And it directly falls at the feet of the coaches, the players as well, but the coaches. There's got to be changes, man. There's got to be changes. This is not working. It's not as simple as, we bring in a couple extra people or bring in a couple, people from the portal and kind of retool this and give it another go next year. I kind of alluded to it during the post game. There's got to be some fundamental changes. And this game, it didn't we already knew that. But this was just another, glaring highlight on the reel of Clemson football is in a bad way right now.
Dude, my question is what do you even do? Because they can't play man, and they can't play zone or they can't coach it. They can't coach it clearly, and that's the thing. Tom Allen talked about it. He's we haven't really been able to be as man heavy as we want because we can't cover. And so it's I don't know. As a defensive coordinator, what do you call? Because they can't run anything. You run man. You got your defensive backs are slow. They get beat over the top. Your safeties can't cover. Your linebackers can't cover mostly. So what do you do? And in zone, they don't play their assignment. They're not on the same page, and you give up big plays anyway. So it's as a defense, how have you allowed it to get to this point? And to this point, there's a talent deficiency, especially at safety, clearly, and you've missed on some guys clearly. They haven't developed, but at the same time, it's like, the coaching on that side of the ball. It's like these players are making like mistakes that in high school you would get chewed out for. Like what Pop Warner you get chewed out for. Like this is like silly stuff. And I have never seen it just that poorly coached, that poorly executed at Clemson. I mean, even like the games where Clemson has really gotten, destroyed over the time. I remember when Jake Bentley threw for 500 yards. The secondary didn't look that bad as it did on Saturday. Like the coverage busts weren't as bad that day as they were on Saturday. Like this is next level stuff, man. And it cost you a game that you, quite frankly, even competent defense, you win this game by multiple scores with how the offense played. Like, it's ridiculous, look, man.
Sometimes you play a team, right? Or you play an offense, and their athletes just out-athlete you, right? They make better plays than you. And they, they put it on you for a game, right? That wasn't what we saw. It wasn't like any team with the secondary playing like that, any team could have done that. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Duke or saying they're a bad football team. What I'm saying is Clemson is a bad football team. And it's very evident. Just turn on the tape. They might even be bad. They're a terrible football team. I mean, that was a joke on Saturday. That was an absolute joke. Why'd you even show up? Why'd you even put the jersey on?
No pride, man.
Because you didn't come out there to play football.
No.
And I mean, it's very clear. You didn't come out there to play football. And, you hear Dabo Swinney talk about it all the time. These guys care. These guys care. This locker room's hurting. I can't tell. Because some of them, it don't look like they care, frankly. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
All I can go off of is what I see on Saturday when I'm watching.
Body language is not good, man.
And it don't look like they care. They may be crying in the locker room, but they should have been worried about preparing before the game so you didn't look like trash on the football field. Because that's what happened.
I didn't see anybody they're like, where's the leadership? I mean, you got Dabo screaming in the DB's face. Khalil Barnes is, he's looking like he's over all of this, and there's not one, like Dabo is the one doing the scream. Like, where's the leadership? Like, why isn't like
why is the head coach the only one screaming and yelling on the sideline?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Where's the other assistant coaches?
Where's the players?
Where's the players? Where's the leadership? Where's the senior leadership? Because I saw on Duke's sideline, that dude was about to fight all the coaches and the players over there. He was fired up.
Their best Vincent Robinson, their best pass rusher.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was like, he's about to fight the whole team if they didn't get it going because they were pissing him off. You didn't see not one Clemson player do that. Not one. Why is Dabo the only one chewing people out on the sideline? Where's Tom Allen at? He talks about accountability all the time. Brother man, where you at? Why is Dabo holding your defense accountable? Shouldn't that be you over there? Chewing them up? Spitting them out? Telling them how terrible they're playing? Telling them to get their ish together? I don't know, man. I don't know. They got a lot of problems. And all Saturday did was just highlight some of those problems that Clemson has. It was just a highlight. It was a highlight reel of what's going on at Clemson. And it's majority bad right now.
Yeah.
It's majority bad.
I mean, listen, like you got Wade Woodaz in the post-game press conference saying the right things, like how frustrating it is. But I I don't feel that vibe from the team as a whole. Like that, you got Dabo in here saying these players care. Where I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are some that do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as you're right, Jordan, like as a whole, as a team, no, I don't think they do. I don't think they do as a whole. I don't. I think, yeah, there's obviously players in that locker room that care. But there, I can assure you, as 1,000% sure I am that there are players in that locker room that care about winning and losing and care about Clemson. I'm also 1,000% sure that there are players in that locker room that could care less right now.
Yeah, I mean,
they could care less if Clemson wins another game this season. I assure you, those players exist in that locker room.
Yep.
Because it's just look at the game, just look out on the field. The tape don't lie.
It doesn't.
But you lost to another team that you shouldn't lose to.
Yeah. That's two losses in a row to Duke, by the way.
Yeah.
First time they've won in your home building since 1980.
Again, setting records for all the wrong reasons this year.
Setting records for all the wrong reasons, man.
That's the story of 2025 Clemson football. Setting records for all the wrong reasons.
The team doesn't have it, man.
They don't, and they're not going to a bowl game. I just newsflash for everybody: they're not.
It's not like this. I mean, this team winning 3 or 4, does not.
I don't think so.
Seem like
I think that is an unrealistic expectation for this team. we went from possibly competing for the Natty before the season started to we ain't even gonna make a bowl game.
There were Pop-Tart Bowl.
We had that on the bingo card.
there were Duke's Mayo Bowl representatives at the game, or I don't know if it was Pop-Tart Bowl or Duke's Mayo Bowl representatives at the game. I'm like, I don't know what y'all are here for.
What are they?
Y'all must be here for Duke.
They must be. I don't know why they keep showing up. We ain't even going to a bowl game, much less your bowl game. We ain't gonna have no postseason. I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know why they keep showing up. Pop-Tart Bowl, they got more faith than anybody in that stadium or on the field. They're like, I know they're going to pull it together this week.
Yeah, dude, man. But, to kind of close this segment out, we will talk about give some love to the offense because, I mean, just on the day, that was probably their best game of the year. In terms of running the football, Cade was as poised as we've seen him all season. With a bum leg. I mean, I
was kind of shocked at how mobile he was.
Yeah, he moved pretty well in a couple plays.
He escaped some pressure. I mean, Duke came after him. He rolled out. He made good decisions. I was shocked at how he was moving on the field. I did not expect that. I expect him to be more of a statue back there, which worried me because of their pass rush. But he ended up being okay. So
absolutely, as weird as Walt Deptula tweeted out, he said, as strange as it is, I think the injury kind of helped Cade, it kind of forced Cade to stay in the pocket a little bit and just go through his reads, and he looked good, man. I mean, just he was checking it down when he needed to. He was finding the open guy. I mean, Antonio Williams, obviously having Antonio Williams healthy and involved in the offense, clearly earlier in the season, I was like, man, not having Antonio Williams shouldn't cripple this offense this much. Clearly it does, because when Antonio Williams is on the field, the rest of the team the rest of the offense just looks better. Now, I don't think Duke's defense is world beaters, and they had struggled at times. They've struggled at times this year. So, but seriously, like that was as good of a performance really as you could have asked for given the circumstances. Yeah, I mean, people are harping on the the play to Chapman Pendergrass, which I didn't like either, and
No, I don't like that at all.
The goal line situations there, like that was, that could have won you the game if you score 7 and instead of 3. But at the end of the day, you scored 45 points. You've never until Saturday, you had never lost a game scoring 45 or more points. So I can't, and they were offensive points. It wasn't like, oh, you got a pick 6, or like Duke got a kick return for a touchdown. No, these were all scored by the offense. Like there's no reason why you should have lost this football game. And you ran the football effectively, especially in the first, especially in the second and third quarters, and you kind of got away from it, late in the game. But I can't really fault them too much because, hey, you still move the ball. And, when TJ broke off that big touchdown on the screen pass to go up 7, I thought they were going to do it, man. There was really some belief in me after all that we had seen, that I was like, man, they might just go ahead and win this football game. And, obviously the ending was what it was. But yeah, like the offense, I hope, found something to build off of. It clear, like I said, getting Antonio Williams involved in this offense opens everything for everybody else up. Yeah, Adam Randall had a good day. Gideon Davidson had a really good day. When you got him on the field and you actually let him, get opportunities with the football, he looks pretty good. The offensive line blocked as well as we've seen this season, especially in the run game.
Definitely
all of it looked
definitely
good.
the O-line's best game all season,
Yes.
without a doubt.
Braden Jacobs, man, he makes this.
He's a dude,
as a
man.
true freshman, he makes this line better.
He's a dude, man.
He's
wow.
Just having his presence, he's an enforcer, man. Like at this age, as a true freshman.
Not only that, playing a position he has not played.
Yeah,
like he's been practicing at tackle all this time.
Yeah,
and then they just throw him in there at guard, and he looks like he don't even miss a beat.
Oh man, I was wondering about it when it was announced that he was going to start at guard and they were going to, and Tristan Lee was going to take his his left tackle spot back. I was like, I don't know about this. I mean, we're treating him. It kind of reminds me of Mekhi Becton,
Right.
just like a 6'7", guard, and you're like, what in the world is happening? Yeah, but like it worked, man. It worked. He looks really good out there. I mean, you can play him. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's taking snaps, so you probably couldn't play him at center, but you could play him at the other 4 spots, and I think he could hold his own and he play really well. That's just he's a special player, man. And I hate that. I mean, it's nice to know that you still have some youth on this team that you have to be excited about, and that's why I'm not. As much as Matt Luke's unit has struggled at times this year, I'm certainly not out on his prospects and out on this group, because I do think you've recruited well at that position still, and you've got a good class coming in still, to where and the guys you have, the younger guys in the depth chart that have a chance to develop, and the guys coming in that you could have a really, really nice line here pretty soon. So. Those are my positives. Good job offense for, I mean, honestly, there's not really much they could have done differently to win that football game.
Yeah, I mean, look, you scored 45 points. You should win that game. Yeah. I mean, yes, did the offense make mistakes? Yes. Could they have done better on like a drive here or there? Yes. But they scored 45 points. What more do you want? If the offense gives you 45 points and you can't win, you just weren't supposed to win that game.
No.
I mean, it just is what it is. It's not on the offense. Cade played, his best, if not one of his best games of the season, on a bum ankle.
I'd say it's his
really
best,
good decisions. Escaped the pocket when he needed to. Stood in there when he could. The offensive line, played their best game of the season. It's good to see Gideon Davison finally get rolling. Go figure. Your 5-star running back can actually run the football. It's crazy. I know, novelty concept. Good job, Garrett Riley. Took you 8 games to figure it out, but you figured it out. Hopefully you don't forget between this week and next week. But it was good to see him. He made some noise in the passing game as well, the screen game. So he looks promising. It was overall a really good day for the offense. Garrett Riley called a pretty good game, for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, man. I mean, and listen, that's like, I don't think Garrett Riley is a bad offensive coordinator. Like, I've never said he is a bad offensive coordinator. Like, but I think the makings of a great offensive coordinator are in there. But it's like he has to. I don't think it's all his fault, but he definitely has to get out of his own way at times in terms of like. And you got to learn. I mean, you got to learn to trust it, running the rock, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
the thing is, like, they trusted running the rock, and another thing they did really well against Duke is just get playmakers the ball out in space, whether it was the screen game or tunnel screens or slants. Like, they slanted them to death in that game, but it worked. Like, get your playmakers the ball out in space and let them work. And look what happens. You throw it 45 points. Like, they have talent. They have game breakers on that side of the football. You just got to give them a shot.
Yeah. You just got to give them a shot, man. And look what happens.
Look what happens. Good things happen.
That was a winning performance by the offense, and so I hate it. Like, the defense had the worst game of all time to go and lose that game. But it's if there's anything to hopefully take away, is that maybe these last few games we see more of that. And but I don't know. Knowing our luck, they're going to go revert back to the same old habits that they've had for most of the season. So we'll leave it at that. We already spent a ton of time on that, and we still shoot. I mean, this is a Florida State preview, and we haven't even talked about Florida State yet. So I'm sure that our viewers are waiting on bated breath.
Yeah, wondering what the heck we're doing. What is going on here? Oh. My computer's being a little crazy here. Sorry, guys. All right, guys, make sure you're checking out the Voice of College Football website, your one-stop shop for everything Voice of College Football. We got articles over there. We got our show schedule over there. There's different forums and team pages and all the various hosts throughout the Voice of College Football network here on YouTube is on there. So go check it out. Read the stories. Let us know what you think, and your support there is greatly appreciated. Go check it out, vocfb.com. That's vocfb.com. All right, Jordan, our very own Dabo Swinney was fined this weekend by the NCAA for his comments on that infamous pass interference call that ultimately ended in a Duke touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and Duke winning the football game this past Saturday against our Clemson Tigers. Your thoughts on the fine and Dabo Swinney's comments? Normally in this situation, he does not comment on officiating controversies or controversial calls or whatever you want to call them in game. But this one had him fired up, and he was more than willing to offer his thoughts, knowing good and well when he said these comments, he knew he would be fined. But Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's nice to see that that some coaches are still willing to call for accountability with officiating. Listen, my thought on the call itself is, I mean, I've had some time to sit on it and watch it back. Listen, if anything should have been offsetting penalties. Like if you're going to call, I mean, in all honesty, you probably should have called defensive holding and then offensive pass interference and replayed the down. Because I mean, I absolutely think there should have been offensive pass interference. I mean, Avion Terrell gets shoved to the ground. I mean, you got I don't know what. like I don't know what you're seeing there, but like. But I do think Avion was grabby at the beginning of the route, and he had a hold of the player. So like I do think it kind of went both ways. If either should have been a no call or offsetting penalties. I don't see how that result that should have resulted in a Clemson defensive pass interference. But I that was pretty rough, man. Especially at that spot. I don't know how you call that the way you did, and I'm glad that Dabo was vocal about it. I mean, listen, it's not hurting my pocket, so the fine, I could care less. I couldn't care less. I usually try to be good about saying.
I don't think a $10,000 fine is hurting Dabo's pockets either.
Oh, shoot, no.
Let's be honest.
That's a drop in the bucket, but
yeah,
it is frustrating that this officiating, especially within the ACC, is run the way it is. I mean, it's a problem, a general problem throughout college football. But I mean, your head of officiating is a guy that was run out of the NFL, for being bad at his job. So I don't understand why. Well, I understand why, but it's inexcusable why the officiating, the state of officiating in this conference and in the college football in general is the way it is. And like these guys, these refs aren't held accountable when they get stuff wrong, especially things like that. Like, listen, you're gonna some calls are interpretation calls. You could make arguments one way or another. And you got to go with your gut sometimes. I get all that. I don't hate officials that on pure 100% judgment calls, but like in that spot, how you deem that there was no penalty committed by the offense. I'm sorry, no penalty committed by the offense on that play. You're watching it back a million times. I don't know how you see that. That's pretty brutal. Directly, I mean, the game is over on that play. If it stands and then if you replay the down, obviously, Duke maybe still scores. Who knows with how horrible Clemson was on fourth down. But at the end of the day, you basically all but gift wrapped Duke a touchdown at the end of the game. So, and listen,
you knew
that was not the. That's not the reason that Clemson lost this game.
No.
There were the million other plays that happened before it were the reason they lost this game. So, like, I'm not one to usually complain about refs or officiating or anything like that, but it is frustrating when things like that do go against you because obviously the result is probably a little bit different if they get that one right.
Yeah. Look, I think it was a bad call. I agree with you, Jordan. You either have offsetting penalties or you just let it all go and call it a wash. And
it was such a late call too, man.
That's what I was just going to mention. Like the lateness of the flag is what also bothers me so much about the call. Like, why'd you throw the flag 3 seconds after the play ended? Like, why did it take you so long to throw the flag? I don't understand. If you saw a clear defensive pass interference, where was the flag? And to your point, there was no defensive pass interference. If anything, you had to call defensive holding earlier in the route before he broke it in to the middle of the field. You call defensive holding there. And then offensive pass interference when he shoves Avion Terrell to the ground. So again, at best, it's offsetting penalties, right? If you want to call it that way. But the lateness of the flag makes it super weird. I like that Dabo Swinney called out the referees. I like that he made his piece known and let them know that he completely disagrees with the call. So I'm all for that. And to take it a level deeper just to get beyond the call because, yes, did the call affect the game? Absolutely. Like, there's no way you're watching that game that penalty doesn't greatly affect the game. Essentially, you handed Duke a touchdown. Yes, they still had to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion, which they did, which is on the Clemson's defense. So the referees did not win Duke the game, but it was a very critical penalty and a very critical part of the game. But outside of that, I want to talk about Dabo's comments further that he made today about officiating and the way that it's handled. And I think fans have been talking about this for a very long time. And really, this call against Clemson just gives us an opportunity to kind of address it on this show, right? There's no accountability when it comes to referees in college football. And I 1,000% agree with Dabo. That has to change. Like, this whole thing where they send in plays and they get a letter back to the university saying what calls they got wrong and what calls they got right, but then no one's allowed to talk about it. Like, Dabo can't come out, or Clemson can't hand that document to the media, right, and be like, here's the plays we turned in and here's the plays the ACC refs got wrong. They would be fined for that. Why? Why do we as the public, why do we as the consumer of college football not get the accountability reports for referees? It makes no sense. It also makes no sense that it's some part-time gig. Like, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, college football. And you're telling me we got part-time referees? What are we doing? Why? And why does every conference have different referees? Why don't we just have college football referees? It makes no sense. Why is there not one governing body for referees and they're full-time and they're paid year-round? And when they're not calling games, I don't know, study film, practice, however you do that. Like, use AI or whatever to make them make calls and become better. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's ways where they can get better at their job. I'm not a referee. I don't know, right? But it's just crazy. And there has to be public accountability, as Dabo pointed out. Like, every other aspect of football gets public accountability, except for the referees. And they make some terrible calls. Not just the ones you alluded to, Jordan, that are judgment calls and interpretations of the rules and nuances in the game. Like, we all get that, and we agree to disagree. But when you just flat out miss a call and nothing happens to you, that's crazy. Like, we can't do that. Like, there's got to be something. There's a better way to do this, and college football is not doing it right now.
Absolutely, man. And John makes a good point. Conferences even has slightly different rules or
Right.
interpretations.
It's
not even consistent.
Stupid. How we all playing the same sport, but we're not playing the same sport at the same time? Like, it makes no sense. Like, why does the SEC got a set of rules and the ACC's got a set of rules and the Big Ten's got a set of rules and the Big 12? It makes no sense. Like, that literally makes no sense whatsoever. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy that that's even a reality at this point.
And it's just been the status quo for forever, and so people don't, there's just not any people don't have a reason to question it. Well, they do, but they don't. It hasn't been seriously challenged in a long time, and so I'm over it. It is what it is. Again, Saturday that was a brutal way to end a football game. But again, it's one of those things you could have done things a lot differently. And both of those things are true. You got to play better. I mean, you gave up a big play to put Duke in that scoring position to begin with, another coverage bust. And so, but at the same time, despite all of that, you had a chance to win the football game, and that's a play that killed you. So you gotta. Something's got to change. You got to do things differently. Just as a sport, you have to do things differently, because this ain't it, man. Not with how much money you're generating. It makes no sense why the product is the way it is when it comes to officiating and the different rules and stipulations and standards that each conference has for it. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Got to be more accountability on the referee department, but we'll leave that there and pick it up probably another time. But make sure you guys are checking out our merch site. That's right. The Voice of College Football Clemson has merch. You can go check it out. VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop. Go check it out. You'll see it right here on the screen. We got different hats. Some camo hats. They come in different types, different colors. Some just regular hats here. Again, different types, different colors. Shirts with our logo on it. If you want to support the Voice of College Football Clemson channel, go check it out. Got crew neck sweaters here. Go check those out. Again, different colors, same logo, some polos on there. As well for you to choose from, and then a tumbler, a coffee cup, and a can cooler right there, a koozie. So go check it out, VOCFB-shop. That's VOCFB-shop, and give us some support over there and get yourself something nice, maybe a Christmas gift for that Clemson fan out there. So help support us in that way, and we really appreciate you. All right, Jordan. A lot has happened. And we are going to get to the Florida State game here shortly. But we got to talk about Dabo and Clemson's future, the future of Clemson football, where we go from here. Just real quickly, the changes that we want to see made. I think you're muted.
I realized it gave me the little notification. I was like, oh yeah. I wanted to dive in a little bit on what Dabo said, this week, just kind of some of his comments in terms of like when it comes to not just how he not just like coaching hires, but how he runs his program. We were talking about it a little bit before the show. His statement was that, in recent years, he feels like he's gone away from his gut and made decisions against, maybe what his gut feeling is. That kind of, it makes me wonder a little bit because, obviously he didn't expound on it or elaborate. What exactly that means, whether it's in reference to coaching hires, is it in reference to, recruiting strategy or takes, or is it like other ancillary parts of the program that he's made decisions one way or the other that he kind of went against his gut, or maybe he let somebody else make the decision. I don't know, but I think it raises a greater question about how much trust do we have at this point that the leadership you have as the head football coach, like, are you going to be able to make any are you going to be the one to right the ship? And do you have that gut feeling anymore? Like, do you have that natural sort of instinct, whatever that's in reference to, that was able to make him as successful as he was in the past? I mean, like, is that still in him? Is that version of Dabo Swinney still there? I don't know what you think. It was very cryptic, but you could, like, my mind was spinning in a lot of different directions, and a lot of just thinking of a lot of different things that he could be referring to. And what does that mean for, like, if he's going to start going with his gut, what does that mean for the future? What does that mean for the decisions he's about to make, and what's going to be a very pivotal off season for not just his future, but Clemson's future and the overall health of the program. Because these are the type of seasons that can put you in a tailspin, man. I mean, you're already in a tailspin, but it could put you in a deep hole. I mean, we've seen examples at other programs. I mean, the program you're about to play on Saturday has had a period like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's really it's an interesting question, Jordan, and it's kind of multi-layered and there's a lot to think about there. So I don't think there's a clear yes or no answer in all of this. But you can think about it from a couple different angles, right? So if you guys haven't already, I encourage you to go watch Dabo Swinney's interview and kind of draw your own thoughts and your own conclusions from it. These are just kind of me and Jordan's thoughts. And one of the things that really struck me was the thing that you kind of hit on there, where he talked about, I forget what the question was from the reporter, but essentially he answered and said if he had one critique of himself, it's that he's gotten away from trusting his gut and going with his gut instinct when it came to Clemson's program and how they do things. So part of that is like, at first it's kind of jarring for me. It's like, oh, whoa, I didn't expect him to say something like that, right? And then he was asked to expound upon what he meant by that, and he was like, I'm not going to talk about it, right? Which obviously I figured that would be the follow-up answer to that. But in my mind, what it means is that, there's been a whole lot of success, and there's been a lot of good times at Clemson, and sometimes you can get lost in that success, right? You can get lost, and there can be a point where it's kind of like a slow erosion, right, of who you used to be and how you used to run your program and truly how you used to go about things. Because if you hear these coaches talking, Dabo Swinney's not the only one that does it, but you hear them talk every single year, like, we start over. We start over. We reinstall the program. We blah, 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 right? You say that, but truly and honestly, are you actually starting over every year? No, you're carrying things over. And when it comes to that amount of success for that extended period of time, I think it's natural for certain things to kind of fall off. For certain parts of your program to maybe grow a little complacent and grow a little stale, and you to not pay as close attention as maybe you used to when you were climbing up that mountain, when you were trying to establish that resume that you have now and all those great records that he just spouts off the top of his head like he's got it memorized, right? So I think part of it is, and what I hope, honestly, this is my hope, is that he has done the self-reflection and he has realized that I'm not doing things the same as I used to when I got us here, right? Like, I say that I am, but when I truly look at it and when I'm honest with myself, I'm not trusting the process that got me here. I'm not trusting my instincts on what built Clemson to what it is now. And I hope that's the case. I do think that Dabo Swinney is capable of steering Clemson out of this if he chooses to make the right decisions. Now, part of that, he mentioned this as well, part of the growth of Clemson and part of Clemson becoming what they are now, or what they were at their height, was he had to make some tough, unpopular decisions. He had to fire some coaches. He had to make other various decisions throughout the program that I'm sure some of us don't know about, some of us don't know about, right? And it's that time again, right? He kept referring back to 2010. And it's that time again. He needs to kind of overhaul. He needs to retool what he's been doing. And we've kind of alluded to it in the past, but it goes all the way from how they meet to their strength and conditioning program, to the way they watch film, to the way they eat, the way they prepare, the way they practice. Certain coaches need to go and be replaced. Certain players need to go and be replaced. In my mind, those are the tough decisions that need to be made. And I think the toughest ones for Dabo that are going to have to be made, I think the obvious one is the coaches, right? But I think that goes without saying. What I think is more difficult, or what will be more difficult, is him looking at the foundation of this program and making some changes, because I think that's truly where some things have slipped. And I'm glad we're going to have a new strength and conditioning coach next year.
Yeah.
No offense. And he's done a lot of great things for Clemson, so I don't want it to come off as disrespectful, but I think that's part of the problem at Clemson. And he lost a lot of good. He lost Smotherman, the get-back coach. You guys remember him? They used to be trying to carole Brent Venables like he was a caged animal on the sidelines. You lost that guy, and I think that was a bigger loss than some people realized. I think he was a bigger part of kind of the mentality inside that weight room and how they used to prepare in there. And you need some of that back, right? So that's a crucial hire this offseason. That is so big. And that's what I kind of drew out of his comments. I hope that he chooses to make the necessary, quote unquote, tough decisions, because it is hard. It's hard when you have that much success and you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what I'm doing is not working and I got to change. That's not easy. I mean, these people got a lot of pride, like all of us do, right? We don't like being wrong. We don't like having to admit that we need to change and do things different because what we're doing is not working. That's never easy for anybody. Like, think in your personal life. I'm sure everyone listening has something that they can think of that's like, I did need to change that, and I did, but it was not fun. I didn't like it.
Yep.
Right? So that's my hope for it. And that's kind of what I got out of what he was saying. And I'm still of the belief that Dabo Swinney is the coach for Clemson University and for this program to steer them out of this. I think eventually this will be an anomaly in his career, a season like this. At least I hope, because if it's not, he will be out of here eventually. But that's kind of what I took from it, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're in a situation now where, you know, all of the things that Dabo has professed and talked about in regards to, you know, his philosophy and how he wants his program to be run. I mean, you're in a situation now where it's at a head with, you know, the administration, with with donors, with the board of trustees. You know, I think there's a point now. You're at the point now where, you know, who's going to win out, and ultimately, and what is born out of that, what changes come forth from all of that, and I'm really interested to see how all this plays out. Yeah, again, Dabo is just not one to make changes during the season, but we're going to see. I definitely think we're one way or another next season. Clemson is going to look a lot different than we've seen it. Now, in what ways, we'll have to see. But I do think there's going to be some radical changes in how this program is run, and what things they. And not just how they're run, but the makeup of the of the people, the staff. I think that's where you're at right now.
Yeah,
and I still have hope that Dabo is going to be the one to make those decisions and make those tough decisions. I mean, you said it yourself. Like, he's going to have to make those unpopular decisions that are going to, maybe there's going to be some bridges burned. There's going to be some people that are unhappy with, their station or where they, where they end up after all of this.
Yep.
But the reality is it needs to happen. There's going to be some pretty swift changes. And I'm excited and hopeful. As much as these types of things can hurt in the moment, they, for the health of this program, for the long-term success of this program, you got to do it, man. Because the way you're doing things now, it's been a complete and total failure.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And I think another interesting way to think about it is maybe we needed this, right? Clemson has been slowly trending in a downward direction for 3-4 seasons now, right? Maybe we needed a season this bad where you couldn't make excuses, right? You can't excuse your way out of a season like this. It's not, oh, we're close. It's not, oh, this injury or that injury. No. This is bad. This is extremely bad. And this is extremely unacceptable at a place like Clemson that invests as much as Clemson University does into this football program. Dabo Swinney knows that. So in the long run, as much as 2025 sucks, maybe, just maybe, there's no guarantees, but just maybe it'll be the catalyst for some real change at Clemson and to get them trending back in the right direction. I hope that happens. I still believe in Dabo Swinney, but he's got a lot to prove, and he's got a lot of tough changes and tough decisions to make. So we will see. We will see.
We shall.
But none of that's going to happen during this season, Jordan. So let's go ahead and leave that there. Make sure you're checking out Clemson live on all your favorite audio streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you like to get your podcast from. Just search Clemson Live. Give us a listen. Give us a rate, review, subscribe over there. Wherever you like to listen to your podcast, whether you're on a long drive, running, working out, search Clemson Live. Give us a listen over there. All of our long-form content's over there. All the videos we have on the channel are put over there in podcast form. We appreciate your support over there. Jordan, let's get back to this season. We've talked about the overarching issues with this Clemson football team and, more importantly, this Clemson football program. But make no mistake about it, we got 4 more games left this season, and the next one on the docket is none other than Florida State, coming to Death Valley, South Carolina, Memorial Stadium. And we're going to battle it out. This Florida State team's coming in. They started the season off with a bang. Everybody remembers week 1, them battling it out and basically blowing Alabama off the football field, physically dominating an Alabama football team in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time. And a lot of people coming out of week 1 didn't really know what to think. Everybody's laughing at Alabama. Everybody's like, man, Florida State must be really good. Or is Alabama just terrible and they've fallen apart and Caitlin DeBoer doesn't know what he's doing and, blah, 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 blah. Well, turns out, Jordan, Alabama's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
They turned their season around. Turns out Florida State might not be very good. They're sitting at 4-4 right now. No one would have predicted that after the week 1 that they had. But here they sit at 4-4. We're at 3-5. The battle of the bad football teams right now. So Jordan, your thoughts? They come to Death Valley. Your thoughts on this Florida State team and how you see this game playing out Saturday? It's actually, I don't know if you know this, Jordan. It's a night game.
It is.
Did Clemson actually get a night game?
Yeah,
We see another night game all year.
Yeah, I mean,
somehow, some
ACC
way.
network, but still.
Yes, well, that's about as good as we get at this point. At least we're not on the CW, okay?
Yeah.
We could be on the CW. That's probably where we
could.
should be. But, we're playing Florida State. It still is two big brands, so I guess it makes sense. 7 o'clock time slot on the ACC network. Jordan, tell me about this Florida State team.
Yeah, this Florida State team, I mean, they've been such a fascinating team to watch this year because in a lot of respects, I mean, they're clearly better than they were last year. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, they just from a competence on both sides of the ball, they're significantly better than they were last year. This offseason, there were a lot of there was a lot that had to change for Mike Norvell and the staff and the roster, and they did a lot in the transfer portal to try to address those needs. And I think largely, they hit on some guys, they missed on others, but overall, I think they did improve the roster. And they also it wasn't just roster changes; they also made staff changes. Obviously, bringing in Gus Malzahn to be the offensive coordinator, and Tony White from Syracuse to be the defensive coordinator. And, I think, largely offensively, they've been a successful team. They're number one in total offense in the country with just over 510 yards per game. They are a balanced attack, and they are a team that's going to, they're going to want to run the football first and foremost. That's Gus Malzahn's MO. He's going to get creative in the run game, and they're also going to be a heavy RPO team, and they're going to take their shots when they can. I mean, that's Gus Malzahn to a T. Bringing in Thomas Castellanos, I think obviously has been a net positive. I think he's been stable. He's been steady a lot of the season. It hasn't been perfect. But offensively, they do have some really, really interesting pieces that they've been able to work with. They've been pretty explosive. They've been one of the better Thomas Castellanos has actually been one of the better deep ball throwers in college football this year. I think people kind of look at him and don't think that he has much of he has much arm talent because they just think of how much he runs, and he's built like a running back, but he's been pretty accurate throwing the football downfield, and they've been pretty explosive in the passing game especially when they've been able to establish the run with Usman Kroma and those other backs. But I think that's one of the things that scares me about this Florida State offense is with what we've seen, especially as of late with this Clemson defense. When it's very easy this Gus Malzahn offense is designed to create coverage busts, and they're going to put your DBs in conflict at times. The RPO, like I said, they are going to be a heavy RPO team. That's what they do. It's not an overly complicated, elaborate passing scheme in terms of their play action game, but when you're sucked in, when your safeties and your second level defenders are so, keyed in on the run and worried about Florida State, running the football. I mean, it's very easy to get beat over the top. And with how we've seen these DBs play as of late, I think that's a real possibility with some of the weapons they have on the field. I think their best receiver overall has been Deuce Robinson. He is a dude. I mean, just every bit of he's got to be 6'5", 6'6", almost built like a tight end, but he's a load, man, to deal with. He's one of their best big play threats, contested catch, can do basically anything you ask him to do. He's going to be a tough cover. I don't really think you have anybody for him, and that really does concern me in this football game. And with his ability, he's a guy that, like I said, it's very easy to just throw the ball up to him, and more often than not, he's going to come down with it. Another guy that I think is worth mentioning, a guy that has really, really come along towards the back half of the season, is Mekhi Danzy. Elite track speed, like probably one of the fastest players in college football. He is, with how slow your DBs have shown to be this year, Another guy that concerns me a ton. They use him a lot. They used him, a decent bit in gadget plays earlier in the season. I think they realized that wasn't really necessarily his game. I think when you just let him run and get matchups on DBs and just let him run past guys, he's been pretty good. And so, like I said, he's really come on towards the back half of the season. I think he's developing into a really nice receiver. I think those two guys, I think, are the most concerning, but they have a stable of other guys. Jalen Lucas is a guy that they have used primarily as a gadget player. Another guy that can really run. They're gonna use him in jet sweeps and screens and end arounds, things like that. And you got to come down and tackle. He's not a very big guy, but he can move. And I think that's kind of the theme with this Florida State offense. They have a lot of guys that can run. And so that concerns me in this game with how inconsistent you've been on the back end. You gotta cover, man, and you gotta be on the same page, or otherwise you will get beat. Like I said, Castellanos has hit on those plays more often than he hasn't this year. They have been very good throwing the ball down the field. There's not too much in the intermediate game. They're really, if it's not a screen or a short RPO, they're taking a shot. It's kind of a little bit or a lot, and nothing in between with this offense. So that really does, that kind of concerns me with just how this defense has been playing. I don't think this is the best matchup.
Brother, this offense concerns me a lot.
Yeah.
There's pretty much nothing about this offense that doesn't concern me. The way they run the football, averaging 241 yards a game, 5.3 yards per attempt. That's not good. That does not spell a recipe for success for the Tigers this year. They're averaging, 270 yards passing on the season as well. So again, a very balanced team. You mentioned the RPO, the athleticism of Castellanos and what he can do creating outside of the pocket with his legs. Not only that, he can throw the football. So if you get caught with your eyes in the backfield in the RPO game, he's going to make you pay for it. We saw that last week against Duke time and time again. That should ring alarm bells for all Clemson Tiger fans preparing to watch this football game on Saturday. Their ability to throw the ball and be explosive, along with their ability to run the ball very, very effectively at running the football. They kind of, they went on a 4-game losing streak there and kind of lost their way. But Wake Forest might have allowed them to get their mojo back last week. They ran the ball very well against Wake Forest, physically dominated that game, and basically, splattered them all over the field. Not a good way for them to walk into Death Valley. They were coming off a bye week, got their mojo back. Now they're walking into Death Valley again. A very competent, very good running game. That does not spell, a recipe for success for this Clemson Tigers defense this year. We're not particularly good there. We're especially not good on the back end, especially as of late. And they can attack us from both ways. I honestly think it's going to be a long day for this Clemson Tiger defense, especially if they show up and play like they did last week. And I don't know that they've showed me anything that would expect me that they do come to play any different way. Other than maybe they find some pride, some self-awareness, some fortitude to get out there and play. I don't know. This is an offense that could do a lot of damage to this Clemson Tiger defense, particularly because of how they are playing at this point in the season.
Yeah, and it kind of raises the question. You're like, I mean, what do you do? I mean, if you're a defense, if you're a Clemson defense that has had the struggles it's had, I mean, what is the game plan here? Because
I don't know. Do you sell out to stop the run and leave the back end vulnerable? I mean, because they're averaging 240 yards a game.
Yeah.
So what's the realistic chance that you're actually going to stop their running game? With this Clemson Tiger defense, that's not a very good chance.
No.
It's not.
And
they got multiple running backs they're going to throw at you. They're not just like
no. I mean,
one-horse race
Chroma is going to be a stud as a true freshman. I mean, he's already shown a lot of promise. Gavin Sawchuk, Keziah Holmes, like they've got guys that can run the football, and so it's I don't know what you do, because I mean, obviously you got to keep it Thomas Castellanos in the pocket. I think, I mean, ultimately your chances are better if you don't give him the opportunity to scramble and make plays with his legs. But he's been a worse quarterback when blitzed than when not. But like that doesn't with this team. I mean, if you're going to blitz, it means less guys to cover on the back end. And
Mr. Backend's got to hold up, and then if he escapes the pocket, your back end's definitely not going to hold up, and he's going to find somebody downfield for probably an explosive play.
Yeah.
So if you are going to
many guys as they have that can run,
especially with the speed that they have on the outside. So if you are going to rush them, you're going to have to be disciplined and keep them inside that and kind of squeeze them within the pocket. Because if you let them get outside, that's going to lead to more explosive plays for Florida State.
Yeah. And, I completely forgot. They still have Squirrel White still. So those of you that remember, I mean, I think he's dealing with an injury. So, I mean, he hasn't played as much this season. But, I mean, those of you that remember the Orange Bowl a few years ago, I mean, when he's healthy, he can play. So, I mean, that's the thing. I think this is a Florida State offense that just kind of has a little bit of too much for you. I'm like, what do you do? I mean, I think, I haven't even talked about their tight end, Landon Thomas. I think, he's kind of been up and down this season, but, I think kind of like Mekhi Danzy, he's made some more plays in the back half of the season as they've, I think as they've realized that, what they had hoped for after the Bama game and kind of the aspirations they had for themselves are clearly not going to come to pass. They started to play some of their younger guys. With Norvell and Gus Malzahn, I mean, they're going to have something for Clemson. They're going to scheme some things up, and they're going to, especially watching that Duke film. I think they're going to attack you down the field pretty often, especially since they know that Clemson knows they can run the football. They know they're going to have some opportunities because Clemson is going to dedicate some resources to stopping the run. So. I'm not optimistic about this matchup. Just being like I feel about as bad about this matchup as I did SMU in terms of just the defense against this offense and the team speed that Florida State has versus what you have defensively. It just doesn't look. It's not looking great for me, man.
No, it's not. It's not a great matchup defensively. One, because they're so balanced and how effective they are running the football. But two, it's just the way that Clemson's secondary just played. I got no faith in this defense stopping anybody. Just to be completely honest. But let's go ahead and roll over to the other side of the football, Jordan. Talk about Clemson's offense versus this Florida State defense. Tell us about this Florida State defense. What are they going to bring to the table Saturday night in the Valley?
Yeah, I certainly feel a little bit better about this matchup than I do about Clemson's defense against Florida State's offense. Defensively for Florida State, the thing that, watching them this season, it's kind of been a mess in a lot of ways. It kind of reminds me a little bit of not quite. They haven't had performances quite as bad as Clemson has. But I do think they have, they have some noticeable issues. I think their worst game of the season was that Pitt game. I mean, that was rough. Going back and watching that. I think with this defense, it's a group that they have a lot of guys that, they've either, brought in through the transfer portal or guys that have, kind of been in the program a little bit. But I don't think they're particularly great at any one thing. When I look at them up front, I think they're pretty thin on the defensive line. I think that's been a pretty noticeable aspect of their season this year, and I think it's kind of limited what they've been able to do. In Tony White's first year, I think Tony White is a great defensive coordinator. But just watching them defensively, I don't think they have the bodies up front to be able to be as multiple as they want to be in Tony White's defense. I don't think they've played that well, especially at defensive end. I think their tackles are pretty decent, but like they defensive end has been really kind of a mess this year in terms of the depth and just the amount of quality guys they can play there. And then, on the second level, linebacker, I think, has honestly been pretty bad. It's kind of shockingly bad. Some of those guys I thought would be playing a lot better, but it's really been kind of a mess at times this year. I think it really hurt them in that Pitt game, containing Mason Heinschel and other quarterbacks this year that have shown the ability to run. They haven't played particularly well against. Makes you wonder, if with Cade and how another week removed from the injury and potentially is he a little bit mobile than he was last week? That could be a good thing. I just watching them defensively, I think that's been probably the biggest weakness on their team is linebacker. They have not played very well, and so I think that's a group that you can exploit. I think there's some matchups that can be had here. I think this could be a big day for the tight ends if you remember that you have good tight ends. That'd be nice this week, and then on the back end, I think they have some guys that can play. They haven't been consistent either, but I think Jerry Wilson is a guy that I think he's kind of tailed off a little bit towards the back half of the season, but he's been largely their best defensive back. Earl Little Jr. is a guy that's been in the program a long time. He's kind of been up and down this year. Edwin Joseph at safety as well. Like I think there's some guys that have some that'll get some looks on NFL draft boards. So they have some playmakers on the back end, but it kind of hasn't really come together completely this year. And so, you kind of get why I think this defense isn't really great at any particular thing. I don't think they're terrible, but they are a very clearly flawed defense. And I think, if Clemson did learn anything about themselves last week, and they are able to carry some of the things they were able to do last week over into this game, I do think they'll be able to score some points. Certainly, I think they can move the ball on this defense. They don't really have any players that particularly scare me. I think they have a few guys, a couple NFL guys on the interior of the defensive line, and some guys in the secondary, but they're not an overly talented defense, and they're not an overly deep defense. And I think that's the biggest thing is when they have to rotate, things get a little dicey because they don't have the numbers everywhere. It's just, and that's kind of where you get when you have not recruited the high school ranks at a decent level. But I'm throwing stones from a glass house with Clemson, at least in terms of the depth aspect of things on defense. So it's going to be interesting. I think this is a game where we could see both teams score a decent amount of points. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. Getting from this matchup when I look at both of these teams, and it's knowing that I said that, now we're going to come back on we're going to come back here like Saturday night, and we're going to be talking about a 20-17 ball game or whatever. So that's just how football works.
That is how football works, but I kind of see it going the same way you kind of see it going. I really like Clemson's offense in this game. I think they can, I think they found some stuff last week, particularly in the running game. Obviously, getting Gideon Davison involved, I think was a was a huge win for the Tigers last week, even though they ultimately ended up losing the game to Duke. And just some of the tunnel screens and stuff that you saw last week, and that perimeter blocking looked really good last week. The TJ Moore, whatever it was that a 70-yard touchdown, whatever it was.
Yeah.
On that tunnel screen right there with great blocking, and he just kind of, housed it. Just the slant routes, all that kind of stuff. Like I really think Clemson figured some stuff out last week, and Garrett Riley probably called his best game of the season. So I'm hoping that continues. Do not abandon the run the football. Use your running backs. One of the positives from last week is we had was it 30 carries by running backs last week, Jordan?
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Hard to believe.
What a novel idea, man. Run the running backs. Like Clemson has run the football this year. It's just not always the running backs, which has been driving me crazy. But last week, that was rectified. Hopefully that continues into this week. I think it could be another big week for the offense. Hopefully they keep the momentum. Hopefully Cade Klubnik is a week better with the ankle, even more mobile, feeling even more comfortable back there, still making good decisions, not escaping the pocket too early, standing in there, doing some good things. And I think there's some things to be had on this Florida State defense. I think there's some yards to be had. There's some points to be had. Like you said, it could end up being a shootout between the two offenses, and who makes that mistake first. Is it going to be Cade? Is it going to be Tony Castellanos? Who's it going to be? Hopefully Clemson's defense can create some pressure and force Castellanos into some bad decisions. He has done that. He is capable of making those poor decisions. So we will see. But I got a lot more faith in the offense heading into this game than the defense, which is probably not a good thing. It means it's probably going to flip and the offense is going to play terrible, like you said, because 2025 Clemson, that's why.
2025 Clemson, man. That explains it all.
Hold my beer. The year of hold my beer.
Yeah. And it's, hey, the good thing is, obviously the record for most losses and most home losses in the season is on the line. But good thing is Florida State did get their first ACC win in over a year last week. So, you don't have to worry about having the dishonorable distinction of being their first ACC win. That's, maybe that's a feather in Clemson's cap. That's a sign that, they're going to win the football game on Saturday. I don't know. But this is going to be a fun matchup. Listen, I still enjoy playing Florida State, and, it's always a big game if you can win it. And I think both teams would really like to come out of here with a win. Listen, man, if that'll be something. If you lose this game on Saturday and Mike Norvell is let go as Florida State coach, that's two fired coaches that you lost to in a season. That'd be something that'd just be another great, they're really stacking the resume at this point. If you lose the game, so
they're doing it big time. Clemson is we're all about setting the records for all the wrong reasons this year.
Yep. They're all in
for all the wrong reasons. We're all in on it. We're about it. 2025 is the reverse year. We're gonna set the records for all the wrong reasons. It's the hold my beer year. It's the It's the whatever year. All right, Jordan, we talked about the matchup. We've broke it down, kind of talked a little bit of how we see it going on both sides of the ball. Now it's prediction time. We were split last week. Are we going to be split for 3 weeks in a row?
Maybe. I wonder.
Maybe. We've been split for 2 weeks in a row. We'll see if we'll be split for 3 weeks in a row. But again, remind everybody of the lines. Clemson is a 2.5-point favorite at home to the Florida State Seminoles. Over under for this game is set at 56.5. The ESPN matchup predictor, if you care about that sort of thing, has Florida State winning.
Sounds about right. Yeah. This is a game that honestly it's a little hard to read. I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on what the mindset is for both teams. I mean, Florida State is coming off of a really nice win, blowout win over Wake Forest. Clemson obviously coming off of a heartbreaker. I mean, so like, what is the mindset of both teams? Does Florida State kind of, is this a situation where they found something and that they can build on, or is it like a situation where they kind of regress to the mean of what they've been this year? And same thing with Clemson. It's like they've lost this many home games in a row. Or they do. Is it gonna happen this Saturday? And coming off a heartbreaker, are they going to respond, or or is this going to be a loss that turns into two? Really hard to say at this point. But when I think about this football game, I think there's a lot of matchups that concern me regarding Clemson's defense, and that makes it tough, especially considering what we saw last week. But I don't feel good picking Clemson to lose a fifth home game in a season. And against my better judgment, I'm picking them to win the football game on Saturday. Now, again, kind of like how I felt against Duke, I don't really have any strong reasons to think they win this football game, considering what we've seen. And I certainly don't think it's going to be easy, because it's never easy with this football team. But I can't pick this team to lose a record amount of games at home. It doesn't feel right. It's a stupid reason, because it doesn't mean it's not impossible. But I'm going to go with my gut and say that, like, this is the one this is the one they get before they they got Louisville next week. That'll be fun to talk about. I'm going to go Clemson 36. No, I don't like 36. No, Clemson 35, Florida State 30. Sure, why not? I think both teams will score a good amount of points in this game, but I'm going to give Clemson the edge, and they're going to cover for the first time against a Power 4 opponent. So, don't really have don't feel a lot of strong conviction in that prediction, but I'm going to let it rock one more time. If they fail me this week, I'm not picking them to win again the rest of the year. I'm even against Furman. I'm gonna just say Clemson's losing. So yeah, it's do or die, man. This is for pride. You can't lose this many games at home, and just it's Clemson football, man. Have some pride.
Yeah, look, absolutely. This has been a tough game for me to kind of predict. I picked Clemson to lose last week. Ultimately, I was right, but not in the way that I thought I would be right. And for a big portion of that game, I thought Clemson was going to pull it out. I was wrong. So you guys get your score predictions into the comment section. Let us know how you think this game is going to play out. And honestly, I was going to pick Florida State to win this game. But I'm going to pick Clemson, and I'm going to give you guys my rationale for picking Clemson. Although during the preview of this game, I just rattled off all the reasons this Florida State team is going to have their way with this Clemson defense. I have to believe that there's at least a good portion of this defense that is absolutely embarrassed by what they put onto the field last week. I have to believe that if that's true, then they're going to try to do something to rectify that this week and not let it happen for a second week in a row. And because of that, I'm going to roll with the Tigers because I do think the Clemson offense is going to get theirs in this game. I'm going to go Clemson 34, FSU 31.
I like it. We're pretty close in score.
Clemson can't lose this game.
No,
they can't. One, they can't lose to Florida State because forget Florida State. Two, you can't lose a fifth home game. As you've mentioned numerous times in this episode, Jordan, you can't lose a fifth home game. Like, we might have to, retire the name Death Valley if you lose a fifth home game. In all seriousness. We can't even argue with LSU fans at this point. It's a pointless argument.
No.
And it pains me to say that because I hate that. But, yeah. And it just from a pride standpoint, just from, Tom Allen, brother, we need you this week. You got to figure out something. You got to figure out how to stop the bleeding this week on defense. If you're as good as a defensive coordinator as we thought you were coming in, you got to find a way to stop the bleeding this week. You got what you got on defense. I get it ain't perfect. But you got to find a way to stop the bleeding this week. And I think Clemson will get it done. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. Me and Jordan's blood pressure is probably going to be up. But I do think the Tigers get it done this weekend. Hopefully we're right. I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
We're back in lockstep. So maybe this is well, I mean, we're either going to go down with the ship or we're going to look like geniuses. So
we haven't given up yet. But I'm with you, Jordan. If they let us down Saturday, I'm literally not picking them to win another game this year.
You can't justify it.
I won't pick them to win another game this year.
Maybe
Furman. That includes Furman. I will pick them to lose the Furman. I swear to God. I'm not even joking. I will pick them to lose every single game for the rest of the year if they lose this game.
Man.
5 losses in Death Valley, they deserve to lose the rest of their games.
Yeah.
They honestly, they should just start practicing and just forfeit the rest of the game. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it is what – I mean, I got to believe that, with the night game and all of that, I have to believe Clemson's got one more – they've got one good performance in them this season. I don't think it's going to translate at all to next week against Louisville. Spoiler alert. But I do think that you have one – you have to have one in you. There's no way that you're gonna drop every single game this year to Power 4 opponents at home. I mean,
oh man,
there's just no way. There's just no way.
This is their last chance, right?
This is their last chance.
This is their last chance, Jordan.
Yeah.
To win a Power 4 game at home. Think about that.
It's sobering, man.
Wow. My, how the mighty have fallen. Wow.
You've lost 6 straight home games to begin with. It's 6 straight power. You've lost 6 straight Power 4 home games. Power 4 home games to begin with. And you've lost what? 3 in a row?
3 in a row. 3 straight games at home.
3 straight games at home, yeah. So
this will be 4 if you lose this one.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. All right, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Obviously, we are trying to grow this channel. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Consider hanging out with us. We do this show each and every Tuesday, 8 p.m., the All In Show right here at Clemson at the Voice of College Football. We don't stop doing this show when the season ends, when we stop playing football games. We do it year round. So consider subscribing, hanging out with me and Jordan. We do a post-game live video following each and every Clemson game. And if you're a member, I think we'll probably do a members-only live stream this weekend for the 7 o'clock FSU Clemson game. So if you guys want to see, or if you guys want to come hang out with me and Jordan during the game and sit in here and chop it up and watch the Clemson FSU game together, be sure, hit that join button right below this video. Pick whatever tier that you're comfortable with. One, you'll be supporting the channel on a monthly basis and supporting what me and Jordan do here. And you'll also unlock that exclusive content for the members only, the watch-alongs that we do. And our next one will be happening this Saturday, 7 p.m. for the Clemson-Florida State game. So hope you guys will join, become members, support the channel, and come hang out with us this Saturday at 7 p.m. It'll be under the members only tab, and we'll have a good time hanging out, eating some food, and chopping it up and talking about Clemson football.
Absolutely, y'all come hang out with us. It's a good time, and you get to see us. Well, I try to stay composed, but man, I wish we were able to. We would have been able to do one for Duke last week.
Man,
Saturday, because it would have.
That would have been a good one.
I stayed composed until TJ's screen touchdown, and then I let out a yell then, and then I also yelled at the pass interference. So that was y'all would have seen me crash out on that one, but that was something. Maybe we'll get another great moment.
But yeah, definitely come hang out with us, guys. It's worth the watch. You guys, you can stay in the chat section, and we'll chop it up with you just like we're about to do here when we turn it over to the comment section. Or you guys can come on as well if you guys want to come on and chop it up and talk. We'll add you to the StreamYard, and you can do it that way. It's whatever you guys want to do. So it's a much smaller group, so it's easier just to kind of have conversations with you guys, and we share a little bit more personal stuff over there, some funny stories and stuff. So come check us out. It's a good time. So we'll see you this Friday. Again, become a channel member, hit that join button, and select your tier. And with that said, Jordan, and without further ado, it's time to turn it over to the people and see what they're talking about.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see what y'all's score predictions were. Juju, he's got Clemson 69. Nice. FSU 67. I see what he did there. He did the two funny numbers.
Yep.
69 and
the
6,
two
7
generations of the numbers.
Yeah. Oh man.
Back in our generation, it was 69. That was the funny number.
Yeah, it's still the funny number. I mean,
it still is. Yeah.
I mean, our live show's got is Clemson Tigers Live 169. So
there you go.
Nice. I didn't think we would get a 6-7 reference. That's got to be the first one on the All In show. So that's a very big milestone for us.
Yeah.
Big John 42-37 FS who, man, 2 straight absolute barn burners in the Valley. That'd be something. And we come out on the short end both times. I don't know if my heart can take that.
It'd be a gut punch.
KD Jones says FSU 20, Clemson 36. 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns by Eazy-E. Looking, that would be an unlikely.
I don't think so. I don't even know if he touched the field last week.
I don't think he did either.
That'd be surprising.
Yeah. Joseph says FSU 24, 31 Clemson in overtime. Isn't that the exact score that Florida State won by 2 years ago?
I think so. Yeah.
That sounds right.
I think so. I'll look it up.
I think they won 31-24 in overtime. That'd be funny if Clemson won the reverse way. Now, speaking of heartbreaking games, that was a tough one. You were honestly the better team that day, and you're struggling that year. But Nate Wiggins goes down.
It was 24-31 FSU.
I'm so nice, man. That's really like my superpower is remembering random final scores. They just stick with me. I don't know. I mean, that game was pretty memorable, but even some of the more obscure Clemson games, I just remember for some reason. We beat like 2022 Louisiana Tech. Clemson won 48-20. Like I don't know why that's still in my head, but like things like that.
What year was that?
2022. 48-20 Clemson.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't know why I remember it. I don't know why I remember that one. But it just sticks with my head.
That's funny.
David says, I will pick Clemson and pick them for the rest of the season. Eventually, I got to get one right. Hey, that's another way to do it. Or you could get them all wrong. Man, we'd be having imagine a post Furman game, like a post Furman loss live stream. That'd be something,
bro.
We might hit 1K viewers if Clemson were to lose to Furman. We'd probably get 1,000 in the stream.
Yeah, at one time. Yeah, for sure.
I think we'd hit the milestone.
Has YouTube figured out their ESPN-ish yet? No?
Nope. That is still ongoing. I'm probably going to get the email tomorrow from Fubo saying that my free trial is about to expire. So I got to remember to make sure I cancel that before they charge my card. So, and then I'm going to create. And then if it's not resolved by Saturday, I'm going to use my other email and create another one.
New email account.
Oh man! Oh my God! The Bulls came back. I might have to. Oh God! Well, I don't even have. I can't even get the game, so I don't even know why I'm getting excited. John says we can all get drunk together, maybe shit faced before the end of the first quarter, depending on how it goes. Yeah, we might. We might. Yeah. Shoot. We gotta have fun some way.
It'll be a good time regardless.
Yeah. David says Clemson 49, FSU 41. Whew. Maybe score 40 plus points and win this time. That'd be great. 45 plus and win. Let's see. Katie Jones talking about Jarvis Green. Yeah, I hate he had an injury camp. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It would have been nice to have him available and Jarvis Jay Haynes and having both of those guys. I mean, it would have taken some pressure off. But I mean, I think Adam Randall has filled in nicely. I mean, he hasn't been a perfect back, but he's been one of your best offensive players and. I'm happy he's having the season he's having. It's just unfortunate that the results on the field in the win-loss column are not even close to what we thought they would be. John says, seeing Eazy-E not likely. Most snaps in a game for him so far in the game is 12-0 last game. No idea what's up. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly clear that the staff, they feel better about Gid and that as RB2 right now, and I mean I don't blame him. It's probably the right decision. But I don't know. Dabo did mention him when they were talking about running back rotations before last game and talking about how he needed to play more. Who's responsible for that? Well, it seems like their position coach, which this has been a recurring theme so far with not just this season, but running back rotations in general. But I could spend a lot of time talking about that. Let's see. Joseph says Clemson won't be elite until Dabo brings in elite coaches with their coaching team that can build up current college football. Yeah, I mean, listen, I do think that Dabo needs to be more open about guys, about when he makes coordinator hires, guys bringing in, like, it's not a situation where you hire an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, they bring in all of their position coaches. That doesn't really happen. But you got to be amenable to getting guys that work well with your coordinator. If he has a guy that he likes to work with, if it makes sense, those are things you gotta consider doing, because it's clear that this, especially on defense, it's clear this staff is just not, they don't work together well at all. And I flat out think they don't agree on some things. It seems like they don't. I don't know if there's real like tension there. I don't know, but it's clear they don't have any sort of chemistry together. They don't have. It doesn't seem like they have the same ideas about how this defense should look, and that's showing up. And so you can't tell the players how what to do when y'all aren't on the same page. That's how you get performances like you did on Saturday, among other things. Katie says he's going to the Furman game. That's what's up. He says that'll be his. It'll be my first game since Syracuse in 2018. I had the Snapchat to prove it. I was at that game too. That would be something.
Syracuse 2018.
Yeah. Chase
I was not at that game.
Yeah. You were at the one the year before.
Yeah, I was at
Kelly Bryant.
Yeah.
Were you at that one? Or were you at the 20 or no, you were, or were you at the
2019 and 2020? 2021.
Yeah, that 2021, because that was the hold on. I know the final score. Don't tell me. I can guess this one. They missed it was 17-14 Clemson.
Yeah.
I'm too nice, man. I'm too nice.
That's when I was stationed up there.
Yeah.
So I went every time Clemson came up there, I went to the Syracuse game.
2019, that was 45. I want to say that was 45-14. I know Trevor threw a couple picks in that one. I think it was 45-14.
Yeah.
Might have been. Somebody fact check on me, but I feel pretty confident it was 40. It's 40. I know Clemson scored 45. I'm going back and forth between whether Syracuse scored 14 or 10, but I think it's one of those. I think it's 45-14 though.
But the second one was a crazy close game. The 2021 was super close.
Yeah. That was a rough one. Justin,
Yeah.
I remember Justin Ross making that crazy that crazy catch and landed on his butt.
The the craziest part about it is like going to a game at Syracuse is so cheap. It's so cheap. Even when Clemson comes to town. Like I sat and I don't if you've never been to Syracuse Stadium, it's kind of hard to like realize, but like you're so close to the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're on top of the players. You
That's
can
what I've been
see
told,
and
man.
hear everything. So I sat at both times I went, I sat like 5 rows up from like the very front row. And you can see and hear everything, like the coaches' meetings, like when the position groups break down, like you're right there. You're literally right there. It's the craziest thing. Never sat that close at a Clemson game in Clemson Stadium, obviously.
I've heard it's like almost claustrophobic. You're like right on top of it, but it makes it such a a really underrated atmosphere at the same time.
It's
When they show up, yeah,
like crazy enough. Like that stadium gets loud.
yeah.
Like, and it's not even full, really. Like.
It's the acoustics and the nature of
It's
the
loud,
closeness of everything.
and there's no AC, so it's hot as hell in there.
Yeah,
I don't know why they ain't got no AC. It's ridiculous. It's crazy, man.
they don't they eat cut corners here. They're a
I don't
basketball.
believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But it was crazy.
yeah.
It was fun times, though. Fun times.
All right, let's see. Juju says, "How do y'all feel about the playoff setup that hypothetically Memphis gets in over Oklahoma and Texas?" I mean, I don't really care. I mean, I'm not one of those like, man, the SEC needs to get this many teams in because they just have such a deep conference. I mean, like I was not I was not for the expanded playoff to begin with. So like in regards to the format, it doesn't really, I don't really care that much, to be honest with you. This is what people wanted. If you don't like Memphis getting in over Oklahoma and Texas, guess what? In a 14 playoff, that wouldn't have happened. It just Memphis wouldn't even have had a shot to get in. Yeah, and I agree that Memphis is probably a two score underdogs to both Oklahoma and Texas right now. But that's how the sport is, and that's the sport you created. So I'm not worried about it. They wanted it so bad. You got to deal with the consequences, and by they I mean the powers that be, and even in some of the fans that that wanted it. And now you're probably going to get 16 here in the near future, or 14 or 16 in the near future. So
Yeah.
You're going to get even more situations.
Stupid.
Our good old pal Mark Rogers dropping in. He says, "You guys probably don't know what to do with yourselves, not having a CFP ranking to evaluate." Oh well, we've had some practice over the last few years. It hasn't been quite this bad.
We're in. I don't even think we're on the Roy bus anymore, Mark.
No,
we're on a different bus now.
I know what bus we're on.
I know what bus we're on too. We ain't gonna say it, but
we ain't gonna say it. But y'all know what bus we're talking.
We know what bus we're on. Y'all have been driving on the interstate, and you see the Tyson trucks. With all the chickens in the back.
Yeah,
that's what truck we on.
We're on that truck.
We're on that truck, and then it come back. You see it an hour later, and it's empty. You like, dang, all them chickens are dead. Yep.
Yeah, that's what we are. We're going
to the slaughter.
We're the slaughter chicken. Oh man. Let's see.
That's right, David. We can complain about the Clemson coaching staff. Say we'll rank them. instead of talking about the college football playoff ranking.
Yep. John's too busy figuring out who to fire. No time to check in on the rankings.
Oh man, it's bad because for the longest time, like when you were looking for the Clemson game, right? You just go on the ESPN scores; it's right up there. But no, you gotta go. You gotta go search for it now.
Yeah. Yeah, John says Syracuse is like a Big Ten camp. My ears rang most of the game. Yeah, it's a different experience.
It's different.
Right.
It's a cool stadium, though. I don't hate it. It's all right.
Yeah. Dave says, yes, I remember that game when Kelly Bryant got hurt and those two came in. Cooper was completely lost. Yeah, that was. I mean, listen, Kelly had no business playing in that game to begin with. I mean, he was already concussed, and then you got him killed. So that was a miserable football game to watch. I mean, it was a miracle that Clemson was in that game. Travis Etienne being special was really about it. And yeah, Zarek Cooper, he ended up having a pretty good career. Like I don't know how many people like kept up with him after he transferred out, but he had a pretty decent career at Jacksonville State. Obviously, he was the one that beat Florida State in 2021. Those of you remember that game when Jacksonville State came into the Doak and beat them on that Hail Mary. Good times. Shout out Zarek Cooper. The Bulls won.
Hey, shout out to Jordan.
Hey, let's go. They were down like 17 most of the game.
Something to cheer for in the sports world.
Tyrese Maxey had 39 points and they still lost. Sick. Did we hit a game winner? Josh Giddey's been killing it, man. He got to be averaging like almost 30. Was it Vooch? Did Vooch hit the three? Did he hit a three? Oh, let me see. Sorry, I got to see this now. The Bulls are actually good at basketball, man. It's been a long time. It's been about a decade. Who hit the three? It was Vooch. Nice. I have to go back and watch that. All right, let's do a couple more and then get on out of here. Let's see. Arthur, he says, hey, guys, I heard that there's tension between Dabo and the administration. What are you guys hearing? Yeah, I mean, without getting into like specifics, and listen, I don't have like all the details, but there is a lot of tension. Some of it has been kind of bubbling for a little bit, but yeah, like right now there is some friction there. Listen, I told you guys, like, Clemson is not, the powers that be are not happy with this season. The amount of money you invested into this roster, into this program, all the changes that you made to try to keep Clemson competitive in the revenue generation and NIL space and player compensation. 3-5 is not going to cut it. It just isn't. And there's a lot of push from at the administration, the athletic department, your athletic director, to step in and fix things and make some changes and yeah, so there is pressure being applied and there definitely is some friction going on right now, which is why I feel how I feel about where there's going to be some drastic changes coming here pretty soon. Joseph asks, how long and how much adjustments will happen until the coaching staff is similar to the strength and chemistry of pre-2020? Yeah, that's a difficult question. How long and how much?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. That's a great question. It's a phenomenal question, but I don't know what it's going to take. Exactly. That's something I don't get paid. 8 figures to figure that out. So. John says, who do you think gets more snaps, Kobe McLeod or Jeremiah Alexander? Right now, I mean, I think Kobe McLeod has probably been more worthy of snaps. So, as of late, like he's honestly played pretty well in the snaps he's gotten.
Yeah, I think McLeod.
And, all right, last one, fun one. We'll end off talking about the rivals a little bit. David Larry asks, curious how hot is Beamer's seat and Cola?
I don't think so. I don't see them firing him this year. I'm not saying he won't eventually get fired, or there isn't issues there, but I don't think he gets fired this year.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot financially tied up into him right now.
Not only that, at like a certain point, like let's think about this college football as a whole, right, Jordan? At a certain point, like there's a lot of big jobs open, right? And that's going to cause a lot of ripple effects. So at like what point, if a university's on a fence about a coach, is like, hey, maybe we should wait another year. You know what I'm saying?
This is a bad year for a South Carolina.
Bad year for South Carolina to be looking for a coach, because where you're at in that pecking order of jobs that are just currently open, and that's not even saying like, what if Kiffin leaves Ole Miss? That's another big job that's open, that's above you.
Right? Norvell hasn't been let go at Florida State.
Norvell hasn't been let go at Florida, right? So like if that right, like so you get what I'm saying? Like you get where I'm going with that? Like at a certain point, like some of these universities might just have to be like, hey, we gotta, we're gonna ride this out, I mean, Auburn's open, LSU's open, Florida's open, Penn State's open.
Okay. Virginia Tech.
Those are 4 really big jobs.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think Virginia Tech is feeling right now?
Virginia Tech, you got Arkansas, you got UCLA, you got these other, jobs that are Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jobs already open.
I think South Carolina in this, I mean, they do have, there is reasons to be attracted to the job. I know roll their eyes when they say that, but like, but again, when you compare them to the jobs that's open, I mean, I'm not taking South Carolina over LSU or
you're definitely not taking over the first 4 places I mentioned: Penn State, Auburn, Florida, LSU. Those 4 are definitely over you, no doubt about it.
I'm not even. I'm taking Florida State before I take South Carolina.
I would too.
So that's 5, and Virginia. 10 years ago, I'd probably say Virginia Tech's a better job than South Carolina. Currently,
probably South Carolina.
I'd lean South Carolina for the SEC money, but Virginia, but I don't know. Virginia Tech did just get a recent.
And then you got South Carolina, Arkansas.
Yeah,
South Carolina.
I take South Carolina over Arkansas.
South Carolina, Oklahoma State.
Big 12. It'd be easier to win at Oklahoma. Like expectations are lower, quality of competition. I don't know. And with Virginia Tech, they did just get a recent a massive investment for.
That's true, and they play in the ACC, which is an easier. So I guess it depends on the coach, right? Who would take that job? So that's just the kind of point I'm trying. I'm not trying to say South Carolina's a terrible job. Like I'm not. I hate South Carolina, but I'm not saying it's a terrible job. It's a good job, but like at a certain point, you have to look around the country and see all the positions open and be like, hey, man, we might want to sit this one out. Like, it's not that bad yet. Like, it's not falling apart. Well, maybe it is, but whatever.
I think they're going to give me.
Look, that's for South Carolina fans to figure out.
Yeah,
I'm just simply bringing up the thought that I had of, like, at what point do some of these jobs that aren't as prominent as, like, those first four I mentioned, for instance, look at their situation and be like, I think we could wait another year. This is getting kind of crazy, right? That's just my thought. But, again, that's for South Carolina fans and their administration to figure out.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope they're stuck from now until, the end of time. But,
Yeah, I think they give Beamer another year. Listen, I think there's a decent. Well, I don't know. It's going to be tough, and I guess the question is like, how confident are you? I think especially at a job like South Carolina, I mean, to really get a program like that over the hump, you do need to need a quarterback that gets you over that hump. And with the physical talent that Lenora Sellers had, he's as talented a quarterback as I've seen them have, just from a raw tools standpoint. But the wins haven't come, and so I guess if you're like South Carolina's administration, it's like he just had a uber talented quarterback and wasn't able to win with him. So it's like, do we give him a chance to try that again? And he's also his coordinator hires have been very iffy. That's been at least, I mean, that's something that they've honestly, that's been a problem for South Carolina coaches for a while, but Beamer in particular, I think his coordinator hires have done him in years where otherwise he's had pretty good talent. I mean, he's a really good recruiter. I think he loves the South Carolina job. I mean, there were people talking about whether or not he would leave for Virginia Tech if they came calling. I honestly don't think he would. I think he genuinely likes South Carolina. He's described it as his dream job. I actually don't think he's lying about that based off of people I talk to. Like he loves it there. To each their own, I guess, but I think he genuinely loves it there. So it's like, do you fire a guy that has that much love for the school and is all in on trying to get you over the mountaintop? I don't know. It's different than what it was with Muschamp. Muschamp recruited pretty well, but I don't think he didn't love South Carolina. I don't think he really he vibed with the fan base or the administration. I think that's why he didn't last long. He had a couple successful seasons, but he didn't. But it ultimately fizzled out because it didn't work. I think it's different for Beamer. So I don't know, but we'll leave it at that. All right, y'all. We gave y'all a little bit of an extended show. We spent a lot of time talking at the beginning, but it's good. It's been a while since we've done a really long show like this, so we'll have plenty of content to cut up during the week. So that'll be fun. But seriously, thanks to each and every one of you that are still in here, even after all this time. I gotta go. I'm already starting to feel it. I'm getting sleepy. But I appreciate each and every one of you that are still here and that continues to support the show. It really is awesome each time we come on here. So those of you that are channel members, you make sure y'all join me and TPC for the live game stream. Hopefully we're talking about a Clemson win over Florida State, in the post game show. So all of y'all make sure to tune in for that. Probably be sometime 10:30, 11. That's that's the joys of having a night game. It's like, hey, we can do. We're both home. We can do the live stream, but then you're like, oh, we're doing a post game show at 11 o'clock at night, and we're tired. And it's even worse after a loss. So
way worse after a loss.
Way worse.
Way worse. But yeah, appreciate each and every one of you guys for showing up. You guys are awesome. Shout out to all our channel members. Thank you so much for supporting in that way. And if you want to come join me and Jordan for this Saturday's matchup versus FSU for the game watch along, be sure to become a channel member. Hit that join button right below the video. Select whatever tier. Support the show on a monthly basis and get access to the exclusive content. So we'll see you guys on Saturday. Go Tigers.
Later, y'all.